So my name is Yesenia. I am the Trauma Informed Care Trainer at Child Development Resources, and I started with the Bridge program in, I want to say it was 2019. It was the summer of 2019 when I first got trained for Module 1 and 2. And at that time, I wasn't the trainer, but I was additional support to the trainings. But I officially became the Trauma Informed Care Trainer and Coach September of 2020.
Nice, thank you. So as with many counties, you do multiple roles, but let's take these questions on our time talking to you about being as a trainer. So how has it been from the beginning when you started, even just as a support to now? How's it been?
It has been a very positive experience. When I first heard about the trauma-informed care trainings, I didn't know much about it, but the insight that I got was very good. I was really interested in the content that Module 1 and 2 had at the time. And so just being part of it, getting trained, it was really an awesome experience. I was very passionate about the content that the trainings had. And I was very, I was eager to bring everything, the content and the knowledge that I've gained back to my community. So that was at the beginning, and just how much it has grown from being in the pandemic. You know, at first, prior to the pandemic, it was all in-person trainings. I remember being part of my first in-person training where we hosted both Module 1 and 2, and the people really loved the content of both modules, and they got a lot from it. But just when I started, we were in the middle of the pandemic, and so it had to change to be virtual. So there was just all that about rearranging, how would we get this same trainings, have the same content in the same way to the providers. And so it took a little bit from us to try to figure out so we wouldn't leave anything out, because the content that the TIC has is so amazing, and then everybody should get trained in it. So just rearranging it, going into Zoom, and so expanding on the trainings, because what we saw is that the people, the participants wanted more. The providers that I work with in my community, they wanted more trainings, more than just Module 1 and 2. So we created what we called smaller classes, we call coaching sessions, and expanded on different topics that the TIC training had. So the feedback that we've gotten from them is very positive. They want more. They love modules 1 and 2. And now that we added module 3, they're very excited. We actually recently did our first module 3 training. And so the feedback that we got was so positive. So it's just so good to see how from the beginning where I started, the whole trauma-informed care has grown so much. And the impact that it has in the providers has been really good. I've gotten so much good feedback, and they want to hear more, because they feel like every child struggles with some type of adverse childhood experience in their life. So just to have the knowledge to how to help them out and how to support them, it's really good for them, and it's so beneficial. So I always have people coming back, even if it's the same training, and they say every time they come back, they learn something new, or it's just a refresher for them. So even if they've taken it 1 or 2 times already, they're like, no, we love the trainings, we want to come back. And so I'm like, hey, if you want to come back and hear it, then by all means, come and join us again.
That's great. And you and I know what Module 3, but just so for people that are listening, can you say more about what Module 3 is that you just offered the first one of?
So Module 3 is the historical and intergenerational trauma. So the way that we brought it up is it's a very touchy subject, right, for a lot of people. So I did want to add a disclaimer at the beginning, because we know that, you know, during Module 3 we do talk about certain populations, and so we acknowledge that we're not saying, oh, you know, these specific populations are the only ones that go through racism or social injustice, you know, but this is the beginning of a conversation. It's a conversation starter. And if you really think about a timeline, you know, we're kind of going back in history and bringing, you know, the historical, the intergenerational, and hopefully soon create more trainings and continue talking and spreading the word about historical and intergenerational trauma and how other populations also suffer from it. So I got a lot of positive feedback from Module 3. They were very excited to, you know, from all the videos that they watch, just the definitions, how briefly, we talked about module 1 about what historical was, but just to add intergenerational, transgenerational, and go off of those definitions, everybody was just so excited and happy that they really enjoyed the training and the content of the module.
That's great to hear. Great to hear. So let's shift kind of to your work. Do you attend, we offer the communities of practice and the webinars. Do you attend them? And if so, can you talk about anything that you've gotten from those?
Yes, I do attend all the community of practices and also all the webinars that we've had. I've gotten a lot from them. I feel like a lot of the times I find myself struggling with certain things, and I'm like, oh, how can I better this specific aspect? Like, for example, coaching. I felt like I was struggling a lot with coaching, asking providers to kind of be receptive to having that one-on-one coaching or having that coaching piece. So a lot of them were like, no, it's okay, I don't need coaching. So I would attend trainings, but it was more like not that one-on-one. So I found myself struggling a lot, but it was not that it was nice to hear, but at least you feel like you're not by yourself when you hear other people from different counties saying that they're struggling to the same things. It's kind of like, okay, it's not so much me, they're also going through the same situations, the same things happening at their counties. So it's just getting ideas from everybody, just how they're doing it in their county and how they've gotten results their way, and how maybe some of the things that we're doing, like for example, for this county, for myself, what worked for me was group coaching. And I feel like the providers felt more comfortable in a group setting environment than just having a one-on-one environment. So that's what helped me. So just kind of talking about what has helped me. Hopefully I also help other counties, other trainers, help them out with that specific aspect. But you always feel a very sense of community. We all share ideas and it kind of bounce off how to make things better, and how if it worked for you, maybe it's going to work for me as well. So just bouncing off ideas. So I really love that. And then now that you guys added the COP, the community of practice for the Spanish, that one is also really good, because I think for my county, we always get a lot of Spanish speaking providers, and the fact that now we have a COP in Spanish and that we can get that content that we have in English to those providers. Oh my God, I'm so excited for that. It's just the same community, the people all that go to the COPs and the webinars, they all have one goal in common. And, we all are very passionate about trauma-informed care, and it shows. And so it's really good to be in that type of environment with individuals that share the same passion.
Great, thank you. And you've already kind of talked about this, and I love that the trainers come back, but any stories, or how have you seen the trainings help providers?
So I've gotten a lot of feedback from providers, but for the most part, every single one, like I said, has come back, and they always said how it has helped them see the child in a different lens, like using that same lens, shifting that perspective. And it also has helped them too with self-care, how they always put others before them. So I know a lot of the providers that attend, they call me, they're like, yes, this child, like they've gone through adverse childhood experiences, but going through your trainings, I have learned to kind of take that step back and stop doing that, like, oh, what's wrong with you, and try to figure out what happened to you. And they always tell me, like, when we come to these trainings, we get to learn a little bit more about the development and the impact that trauma has in the brain, and how the child, when they get triggered, they go into that survival state. And so it's all about the fight, flight, and freeze. So just to hear them use trauma, like the terminology that we use for TIC, it's really, like, it makes you feel so proud. You're like, oh my gosh, like they're listening, they're receiving the information well. And then they also say how they thank me so much, and they thank, because it's not only me, but I also have a group of my coworkers who also are trained, and so they are there for support as well. But they always, in our surveys and the feedback that we get, they're always very thankful that we take the time to provide them with these trainings, because they said that it gives them the tools to help the child and support them in a better way. And also for themselves with self-care, they're like, I never thought about putting myself first in front of others. It's always been, putting others in front of myself, but now I understand the importance of putting myself first and then helping others. So they always tell me, from your trainings, we learn about, importance, even if it is to take a walk or to take a minute to take a deep breath. All of that has helped us out so much. So I always get so much positive feedback from them, and they love coming. Like I said, they always want more. They call me and they're like, when's your next class? When's your next training? If you have one, just sign me up and send me the reminder. I'll be there. So it's really amazing to know that we're building this community within a community. So I'm just very thankful that I get to do what I do, and I feel very grateful that all of these people are getting this information.
Nice. So nice to hear. And you've also kind of spoken to this, but are there any other challenges that you've had, and how have you addressed them?
So my main one was coaching. And so I'm like, man, that's the part that I need to work more. How do I get providers to get, to accept me giving them coaching? And it's not more than me giving them, but just having that more one-on-one interaction with them. So a lot of them, like I said, they really were very hesitant for coaching. I don't know if it's the term that, it kind of might seem kind of intimidating for them. But I found that they feel more comfortable in a group setting. So I developed the so-called group coaching sessions. That's how I titled them. And so it gives them an opportunity. It's a lot shorter, but it gives them an opportunity to be in the environment with the same ladies or the same individuals that they go to trainings with. And so they're a lot shorter than trainings. It's about an hour long via Zoom. And so we always have a specific topic in mind, something that they want to further discuss. There's always opportunity for questions. So it's completely different than TIC, but it also has the same TIC lens, so that they have more of that group interaction kind of class setting, but it's mostly it's completely different. But I see that they're very receptive to that. They always want more. And another thing that I had with my challenges is getting more people to come from English participants, because I have a lot of Spanish participants that love to come to the trainings and the coachings. And so I've struggled with getting participants from English, but I have noticed that they're more, they come more to the coaching sessions since it's a smaller amount of time. So at least I'm opening that door to the resources that they're getting. So hopefully little by little, the participation in English is going to increase. And I just made the realization that when we were in person, we had a larger English group than the Spanish one. So maybe that's also something for the future to see. So I'm not being too hard on myself, but those are some observations I've made about that. But I always, if it's one or two people that come, it's always good, because at least that, this content is getting out to the community. So any participant that can come, I'm always very thankful that they're able here, taking their time, because they're very busy. So whether it's one or two, I'm happy that they're here. And like I said, we're opening that door to the available resources that they have with trauma-informed care.
This has been so wonderful and exciting to hear. Anything else that you need to say before we end for today?
I don't think so. Like I said, I'm just very happy I'm here talking about trauma-informed care, because I feel like everybody should get trained in this. I think that, at first, how I was raised, with adverse childhood experiences as well, like many, but I feel like it's such a useful information for parents, caregivers, providers, grandparents, anybody to learn, because I think that we look at things in a different perspective. And I think that, by us getting this information, we're creating this environment for future children, a more positive environment. And that's what it's all about. So even if it's just like one training, two trainings, whatever it is, even if it's just us speaking for 5 minutes about the importance on trauma-informed care, I think all of this information is so useful. And I'm very excited for the future that children have with this information being out in the being out in the open and us getting the opportunity to train and share this with our community, because the outlook for the future, if we continue to practice this, is going to be so much better than it is now.